Welcome back. It's time to continue on with our strangely changing quest. I'm not even sure if our quest now is to find a vampire boyfriend, considering that now we're the Slayer and we're killing vampires, so who can say? Also, it looks like that we've only been through half of the Silent Hill soundtrack, so I think that we'll just continue going on with that, at least for this part. It's been appropriate so far, I think. But as we remember, what we were doing last time is trying to decide whether we kiss Lucas. Oh my, such a tender moment. Do we kiss Lucas with one, or politely ignore the moment with two? We only did just meet Lucas. We don't know really anything about him, other than he knows about vampires. And the chat's seriously torn about whether or not we should kiss Lucas. Chat has strong feelings in both directions, and someone choosing number 4. Don't choose number 4. Number 4 is nothing. Okay, it's close, but it looks like number 2 is taking this. So, we are going to ignore the moment. Chat, if you cost us a vampire boyfriend, I'm going to be most cross with you. Oh, we got an achievement from that. Ahem, let's continue. You turn away from Lucas, pretending to be very interested in opening your door. You struggle with your keys, and finally the bolt slides back and the door swings open. You turn to face him, hugging your arms around your body to create a barrier. Okay, well, thanks for walking me home. Lucas ducks his head and smiles back at you. Anytime, really. Please call me. Lucas reaches into his pocket and pulls out a little card. He presses it into your hand. With him leaning close, you breathe in his musky cedar scent. It's mildly intoxicating. Be careful, Cheryl, he whispers. And with that, he's gone. Good night, you manage as you slide into your apartment. You gently shut the door and lean your forehead against it. You know you'd better be careful around someone who makes you that weak in the knees. So Cheryl, what do you have on tap? Theater stuff or Slayer stuff? Wait, theater stuff? We didn't major in theater. We majored in MMA. Why is that even a choice? But this choice has very tense music going on, I have to say. Oh, that's why it's red. You're right. I didn't even notice that. The choice is redded out, we can't select it. So if we majored in theater, we would have been able to do that. An option has been cut off from us because we majored in MMA. But, I mean, majoring in MMA is going to help us be a Slayer. So, I mean, that should be okay, right? Ahem. You look at the business card, and your heart skips a beat. Lucas Jaros. You read his name twice. Jaros. As in the name of the family of good vampires that Niles told you about. You were just walking with a vampire. Your knees go weak. You'd better call Niles. You pull out your cell phone and dial Niles' number. He answers unintelligibly, his voice thick with sleep. Niles, you weren't lying, is about all you can squeak out. That seems to wake him. Cheryl, are you all right? Where are you? I'm coming over. He tells you not to invite anyone in until he gets there. Well, that answers that question. You feel the tiniest bit safer. You try to distract yourself by watching television, but the only things on are reruns of Buffy and Vampire Diaries. Not exactly what you want to see right now. You know, like your own situation being similar. It's kind of funny. 20 minutes later, a knock at the door startles you so much you almost pee. What? You creep over to the door as quietly as you can. You peek through the peephole. Once you see that it's Niles, adorably clad in a watch cap, puffy coat, and jeans, you let out a big sigh of relief. You slide the chair away from the door and open it. Niles slips in quickly and shuts the door behind him. He puts his hands on your shoulders and looks you over. You okay, love? Nothing bit you, did it? Yeah, that line does not sound right if not in an English accent. No, nothing bit me. I dusted them first, you say proudly. He pulls you into his arms. I'm sorry I wasn't there. You let yourself sink into his chest and let out a huge yawn. You're finally able to relax, and you realize exactly how exhausted you are. You need to rest, love. I'll stay here on the couch. We could talk in the morning. The next morning, you wake up on top of your covers with your clothes still on. You don't hear any noise in the living room, so you creep to the door and open it a crack. Niles is curled up asleep on your couch with no shirt on. From his round biceps, developed pecs, and pebbled abs, it is abundantly clear that this man is very disciplined. You can see a hint of his boxers peeking out from under your Afghan, red, with little white hearts. Adorable. His face is soft and slack, and he looks so innocent. You love the juxtaposition of such a soft face with such a hard body. You feel the heat rise in your face. It truly is something to wake up and see this on your couch. You briefly imagine what it would be like to wake up and see this in your bed. You quickly shut the door again and go off and take an extra long, extra hot shower. When you emerge again from your bedroom, you are delighted by the smell of coffee and eggs. You look over into your kitchen to find Niles busily cooking up a couple of egg white omelets. Very menacing and hellish egg white omelets, from what this music is telling me. He smiles up at you. You hungry? I whipped up quite a bit of brekkie for us. You nod, enjoying the smell of a man in the kitchen. Yes, we get it. We get it. She likes the company of a man in her place. We understand this, vampire boyfriends. Except Niles is not a vampire as far as we know, so it's pointless. He motions you over to the table, bringing your plates and filling coffee mugs and orange juice glasses. How did you sleep? You ask gently. I didn't. Much. I wanted to make sure that you were all right. You went through a lot yesterday. Oh, wait. I reversed those lines. I did okay. You smile a little, enjoying his concern. Are we safe now that the sun's up? Niles chuckles. If only. That part, I'm afraid, is a myth. Vampires are light-sensitive, but give them a good hat and a pair of sunglasses, and they're pretty much good to go. You nod and think back to Lucas, wondering what life is like for him. You didn't get a chance to tell Niles about meeting him last night. Something tells you that you should wait. You have a feeling that it could make Niles very unhappy. You know you need to know more about the vampires, but it's time to change the subject for a little bit. You rest your hands on your chin. Tell me how you became a watcher. Niles smiles at you ruefully. I told you, love, I'm not a watcher. Okay, coach, you say, taking a sip of your coffee. Niles bows his head, then begins. I was quite a successful personal trainer in Hollywood. I moved there about 10 years ago with nothing, to follow a woman. He smiles and closes his eyes as if remembering her scent, the shape of her mouth. Emily was... She was everything. I met her in London. She had been doing a play in the West End, and I passed her on the street one day. Still so vivid in my mind. I was working at a boxing gym at the time. All I wanted was to open my own gym and chase birds around the pub, but then I saw Emily and the way she smiled at me. Well, after that I cared little for my old dreams. My new dream was just to be with her. Not long after, we began seeing each other. She was called back to Los Angeles to be in The Hologram of Dorothy Gray. Your mouth drops open. You know this film. Everybody knows this film. It was a hugely successful futuristic film adaptation of Oscar Wilde's novel, The Picture of Dorian Gray. It was specially adapted star vehicle for Hollywood's new It Girl, Emily Shale. You hold up your hand. Wait, Emily? Do you mean Emily Shale? He nods once, silently. You know how this story ends. A week after the movie came out, Emily Shale was found dead of a drug overdose in her hotel room. White Claudia, they called it. She was so young, it was tragic. I know what you're thinking, Niles interjects into your reverie. It wasn't an overdose like they said. She was killed by vampires. Niles bows his head. They set it up to look like drugs. They not only took her life, but her reputation as well. How did you know it was vampires? You say breathlessly. I didn't know. Then, I stayed in Hollywood for a while. I already worked as a stunt coordinator for a few movies. Then I got in with the guys making the Ninja Dragon Robot Warrior films, and before I knew it, I was personally training a number of Hollywood actors. You love those movies! He continues. Then Will Willis made an appointment. You raise your eyebrows. Only the biggest action star on the planet. Niles nods. It's like he can hear your thoughts. When he got there, he didn't want to train. It was just a ruse to talk to me in secret. He told me that he was part of an elite group called the Anti-Bloods, and that they had been tracking me, that I was exactly the kind of man that they were looking for to help in their cause. They needed someone like me, someone who knew how to control the physical body with a natural, pure reason to hate vampires. And he told me about what really happened to Emily. At first, I didn't believe him, but after I saw what he and the other Anti-Bloods had to show me, I knew what I had to do. I joined them, I trained with them, and they sent me here. They sought you out. They chose you, Cheryl, just like they chose me. I wonder why, you muse mostly to yourself. Why? You might hear the whole package. I only spent a day with you, but I read every word of your extensive file. You're smart, strong, and trained in every physical sport and martial art that exists. You even know parkour. Not many women have dedicated themselves to such physical and mental training. You are a rare bird. You blush at his outburst. He sounds pretty passionate about you. Then you stop and think. They have a file on you? You must know everything. You turn and affix your gaze on Niles. Tell me more about this file, you say, as nonchalantly as you can manage. His expression makes it clear that he didn't expect you to ask that. Oh, you know, the usual. Height, weight, favorite food. Bull. Now you're really interested. What does it say about me? How was this information gathered? Was it the FBI? The CIA? A private investigator named Douglas? Do the Anti-Bloods do background checks? It's from we source it out, you know, like that girl with the dragon tattoo? So you have a mohawk-wearing, motorcycle-riding, kick-ass goth chick following you around? Cool. Can I see it? The file? No. Niles shakes his head. It's in the UK. It's a paper file? Don't they know it's not the 1980s? Niles just shrugs. Well, maybe you can tell me a few things. I woke up in Mexico one time after a crazy night of drinking. Do you know how I got there? You surprise even yourself that this is the very first thing you want to know from your file. It is something you've always wondered, though. Niles shrugs again. Cheryl, the information I have has all been fed to me through the organization. I don't know anything I don't need to know. He seems so uncomfortable that you decide to drop the subject. For now. You absently feel your hair. It's almost dry. You pull it up into a messy bun. You rise and clear the table, turning to take the dishes into the kitchen. You call over your shoulder to Niles. Thanks for breakfast. It was really nice of... You don't finish after you catch a look at his face. He seems stunned. Stop! He says in a commanding voice that halts you in your tracks. He walks up close behind you. You can feel his breath on your ear. It sends a little thrill down your back. Is he gonna kiss your neck? No. He whirls you to face him, the dishes flying out of your hands and crashing to the floor. That star! He exclaims. Do you know the truth about your birthmark? Okay, we don't actually have a choice here. We have to say no. There's no way we can say yes. Maybe there was some way that we could have found out before this choice. But we can only say no. He's scaring you a little. You mean my birthmark? What about it? I had no idea you were the one! He started murmuring to himself. Did they know? Or could it possibly have been a lucky guess? I must ring Will straight away. Stay here. He dashes out the front door of your apartment, closing it behind him. Your front door pops open and you wake with a start. You're nuzzled into Niles' little nest on the couch. You must have dozed off while waiting for him to get off the phone. You check the time. It's been an hour. He comes over and sits on the coffee table. Well, he begins excitedly, they didn't know that you were the one. They are beside themselves with the news. This is quite an exciting day for all of us. Well, what does that mean exactly? You ask. That means we should have no trouble defeating them once and for all. No, I mean, what does being the one mean? You're still confused. Niles fills you in. It was foretold a great battle between the two bloodsucker families, the Jarros, who were supposedly good, and the Bugattis, who were definitely bad. And that there would be the one, the chosen one marked with a star, who would choose a side, and her choice would decide the battle. What the ancients, as prophetic as they were, didn't anticipate were the Anti-Bloods. With you working on our side, we could wipe all of them out. Niles says, You gasp! You want to wipe out the good vampires too? You would be willing to bet that Lucas is one of these good vampires, and you're not sure you want to kill the man who saved your life. What's wrong with them? What's wrong with them? They're vampires! I don't care if they don't drink human blood and fight with the other vampire family. Vampires are animals, unpredictable, untrustworthy. In a word, inherently evil. That's 2 words. But you aren't interested in arguing semantics with a raving watcher. What is it about me that makes me so important? You have a very special bloodline, Cheryl. You're the descendant of a long line of brilliant, powerful women. From Joan of Arc to Cleopatra to Virginia Dare, Amelia Earhart, Marilyn Monroe, they all died mysteriously. They were all actually killed by vampires because of the threat they posed to the vampire's existence. He focuses his gaze on you. Didn't you have visions when you were young? It all comes rushing back to you. You, the weird little kid who was... We read this already, right? At least that paragraph. Wow, he could be right about all this. Niles makes a convincing case, but you're having trouble discounting Lucas's behavior last night. He really seemed to be on the good side. Oh, okay, we have a choice. We have a choice. Do we continue talking with Niles, or are we super freaked and just want to bail? Doesn't say what we would do if we bailed, but we have the choice of bailing. That is a choice that we can make. Most of you want to bail. Let's do that. This is good bailing music. You know what, Niles? You say, quickly turning him and shuffling him towards your front door. I'm not really sure that this is what I want to do. He tries to protest, but you're too fast for him. You slam the door and throw the deadbolt leaning against it. This place is too crazy. You're leaving tonight. Welcome to the Octagon! What? The announcer's voice bounces off every available surface, surfing the cheers of the crowd. The announcer continues, Welcome Cheryl, also known as the Slayer, undefeated in 25 matchups and the subject of many nightmares. Cheryl, Cheryl, Cheryl. The crowd chants your name with serious ferocity. They are so loud you can't even hear them announce your opponent. They are here to see you. They love you. They want to be you. Well, most of them. The spotlight turns to the aisle, and you walk out into it. Your sports bra and fitted shorts show off your strong shoulders, serious biceps, muscled abs, and perfect butt. You take a deep breath and walk towards the Octagon. Got another achievement. You think back to your days in Lily Valley and feel relief all over again. You're so glad that you were able to leave there. Not only because it had become a scene, but also because it brought you here. Moving to Las Vegas and getting hooked up with a mixed martial arts league opened up a whole new world to you, one that you hadn't realized you were preparing for your entire life. You look down the aisles to the ring bathed in light and let the roar of the crowd sink in. You're more than confident. You are fearless. You know you're going to win this. This is what you were born to do. And with your hugely popular Nike ad, corporate sponsors, and new reality show, you're already kind of filthy rich. Now you can just afford to do this for fun. The end. Well, chat, the Silent Hill soundtrack is not pleased with you. You know why. Don't pretend you don't know why. It's because we did not get a vampire boyfriend once again. At the very least, we didn't die. I mean, at least now we know what happened to Cheryl after Silent Hill 3. She eventually became an MMA fighter. So at least Cheryl had a good ending, right? And now we know how the Silent Hill saga ends. And really, isn't that a better ending than anything Konami could come up with at this point? But you know, we still did not get a vampire boyfriend. We still technically failed. But that's how it's going to have to be, at least for this week. At least for this week, we survived vampire boyfriends, but we did not get a vampire boyfriend. So, I'm sorry to say, chat, but we're going to be doing this again next week. Oh yes, vampire boyfriends will be back until we finally do it right. You're right, I'm not sorry. But that's it for this week. So, we'll be right back, and when we come back, we'll play something new, something a little bit different from Vampire Boyfriends. But for right now, at least we can be happy for Cheryl to know that she became rich and famous as a mixed martial arts fighter. Be right back.